can't get that tight of a radius without this really wanting to spring back on you. Hey guys, Brad here, and today we're going to be taking a look at vacuum hoses. It's something I'm always talking about, always referring back to, you know, dust collection and all that. It's sort of an ongoing theme throughout my videos, I find, and I know a lot of you have commented on it as well. So I thought I would just sort of dive into it a little deeper here and talk about, you know, what vacuum hoses I like and why, and sort of the most cost-effective way for you to get set up and not have to worry about connecting to different tools and all that. So I guess I'll start off by saying I have a lot of Ridgid vacuums. I think I have 4, to be honest. And I've got a Dewalt vacuum, a Festool vacuum. What else? I think that's about it for vacuums. So I've been buying vacuums for the last 17, 18 years, and even the first vacuum I bought, I still have. It still works great. So let's take a look at this. Now, these hoses that I have here, I'm just going to go through them and tell you what they are, like brand-wise. This first one is a Dewalt vacuum hose, and this is fairly new to my sort of arsenal. It has the twist lock, and so a lot of their tools have this option here. For example, this chop saw behind me, okay, it has a twist lock attachment. So when you want to hook a hose up to it, you stick this on here and you give it a twist and it's locked on. So a lot of their tools have this port, and you can tell it has this, it's flat and then it has one little ridge in it. All right, and you've probably seen me in my other videos hooking hoses up to that. You can buy these ends, and here's one right here, and you can just attach them to other hoses of this size. And you can also get these adapters right here. So this can fit onto, let's say, a table saw port, and then you can connect your vacuum to it, no problem. All right, so there we go. That's DeWalt. Now Ridgid, this hose is old, all right, so don't mind the electrical tape and the extra fitting I've put on here, but this was like an original Ridgid hose that comes with your standard Ridgid vacuums, your wet dry vacs. So there's one behind me here. This vacuum comes with a skinnier hose, which I think I threw it out because it was horrible. But the larger vacuums, they all come with these big hoses. Now, I've damaged a lot of these. I don't really like these hoses because they are pretty stiff, but that's what you get. And when you're first starting out, you know, into say carpentry or whatever, money is always an issue. So Ridgid is a great, you know, line to get into. Now, if you want to take it up a notch with Ridgid, you can buy their auxiliary kit, and it comes with this orange hose. It also comes with some attachments and stuff like that. And the orange hose is actually quite nice. You can take these ends off if you need, and you can buy adapters. You can splice multiple hoses together. So it's super easy to do. My biggest complaint with dust collection and say Ridgid hoses is that they're just so big that you then need to buy adapters. All right, so you can buy an adapter kit, which gives you, I don't know, a couple adapters, or you can buy these rubber adapter kits, which this one's been cut down, but typically they have a couple more step downs in them. So you cut it off to where you want, you know, to adapt your tool for. And I don't even know what this one's for, what I used it for. I can't even remember. I haven't used it in years. But essentially that's what you do. So you take one of these adapters and you put it on your tool like that, and then you take your Ridgid hose and put it on there. Now that is big and cumbersome and ugly and really just doesn't work very well. And I never use it that way. So that's one option. When I first started out with dust collection and all that, you know, I was you end up like tuck taping hoses to your tools. You're always modifying with ABS pipe or whatever, just trying to make it work. So it's always been kind of a battle. And once I got into Festool, now you've heard me say this before in my other videos, you just can't beat these hoses. Now I've got two Festool hoses here. I've got the first gen and the second gen. First one has, you know, it's just standard hose. It's got the rivets in it, right? It's got the texture. And it's a great hose. This came with the Festool vacuum. Next is an upgraded hose, which is nice and smooth, perfect for finishing. It's not going to mar up your material, you know, when it's sliding up and down on something, whereas this one can leave a little bit of a scuff mark. So this is an upgrade. These are not cheap. I think they're, I don't know what they are. I don't know. I'm going to say 160 bucks or something like that for a hose. But it's, I'll leave some links down below. But yeah, they are not cheap. But in my mind, they are the best hoses, all right? They're anti-static, so you don't need to worry about getting a shock. With the Ridgid hoses, you will get shock. And if you're cleaning up a lot of sawdust, the sawdust will just cling to the outside of these hoses. And a lot of times you're zapping yourself, and you know, especially if you're cleaning up a ton of sawdust, it's brutal. You just keep getting shocked, and I hate it. And it can also start a fire if the conditions are perfect. So you gotta really watch static electricity and dust collection. It's just something that's a real thing. And a lot of shops and, you know, private residences and stuff burn down because of static electricity. So something to think about, guys. So with the Festool hoses, number one, they fit perfectly on Festools. So they have sort of a twist lock on them like that. All right. And they're nice and flexible. Look at that tight radius. Okay, that's beautiful. You can't get that tight of a radius without this really wanting to spring back on you. See? It's just so nice. You can loop it around your arm. It pivots in here. It's just such a great hose to have. So that's number one. Obviously, it fits on their tools. Number two is it will fit on everything, I find. And because it's this soft rubber, all right, it fits in my Dewalt stuff. No problem. And it doesn't come out. No problem. But not only that, this will fit in my Bosch tools as well. So I'm going to drag this hose over here. So this is the beautiful Bosch 12-inch, and no problem. Okay. I don't have to buy a Bosch hose, and I don't own a Bosch hose either. So it's just something I never bought because I really don't have that many Bosch tools. But so basically right there, it fits on 3 major brands, and I own a lot of Dewalt, as you know. I have a few Bosch items, and I have some Festool. So that really covers me with my dust collection. Now with the ends, we'll flip sides now. The Festool end just happens to be the exact same size as the Ridgid end, okay? They are identical. So I can use, here's a Ridgid vac just to prove it. This fits in here, no problem. And Ridgid hoses are the same on both ends, okay? So it fits in there, no problem. And then here's my Festool. Boom. It even fits better than the Ridgid by the looks of it. Just really nice. Now, the Dewalt hose, this is the hose that comes with the Hepa Vac. Now, Dewalt has put this crazy end on it. And sure, it's cool. You know, it rotates, it twists on, locks right onto the Dewalt vacuum. The only downside that I have found with this hose is that you can't put it on anything else, and it's only, you know, specific for this vacuum. So here's the vacuum down here, all right? And that is what it connects to. Now, it would be great if my Ridgid hose could connect in there, but it can't. It's the exact same dimension. So I would have to do a tape jobby on this, and that would not hold. Or I've got to get some sort of adapter. And because this is the same size as the Festool right here, right, we know that's not going to fit either. So I kind of feel like Dewalt dropped the ball on that a little bit. I don't understand why Dewalt wanted to just make their hose only work for their vacuum, because everybody knows that we all have a bunch of vacuums and a bunch of hoses, and if everybody would just play nice together, then it would just be so much better. It would make our lives as carpenters just way easier. So that's one thing that I don't like about this at all. The other thing too is when you coil this up, it tends to super kink, and I had it fold on me yesterday and I was not impressed about that. But so what I learned is if you're gonna wrap this hose up on your vacuum, disconnect it, because it can get super kinked. I'm not even gonna do it, but I had it like folded right over. Luckily I caught it and it didn't damage the hose, but that's just something that I didn't like about it. So I guess if you're just getting into carpentry, if you're just getting into whatever and you need vacuums, my suggestion is buy a Ridgid vacuum because they're affordable. They last forever. I still have my first Ridgid, and it's one of the big ones. They last forever. And the hoses, you can get by with getting some adapters. But if you want to take it up that next level, just go buy yourself a Festool hose, and you will not regret it. So with the Ridgid and the Festool, you can pretty much do everything you need. You can do your major floor cleaning with the larger hose, and you can do your tool connection, dust collection with your smaller hose. And another thing, as I'll mention, I do not recommend ever vacuuming a floor with a Festool hose because it's just narrower, things can get jammed in it, and it's really, in my mind, in my opinion, only meant for dust collection. You don't want to be using these hoses for like your everyday cleaning. They're just too expensive. It's not worth it. And sometimes they're just hard to find too, right? Not everybody sells Festool, and Home Depot always has Ridgid. So just some thoughts on what I've learned over the years. I have, like I said, a lot of these adapters. I've got a whole box of them, which now, since I've upgraded to these hoses, I don't use them at all. Never. Like, ever. So it's just, they're just, they were such a pain in my butt, always tuck taping things together, just jerry rigging them so that they would work. And now I don't need to do that. What else was I going to show you? Oh yeah, the skill saw. So the Dewalt hose will fit on that, but again, so will the Festool, which is pretty sweet. And here's another saw here. Same idea. You can stick the Festool. And one thing with skill saws when you're using hoses, any type of skill saw, you don't want a big heavy hose on these saws. Like, you're cutting wood and the hose can actually manipulate your cut by being stiff and pulling on it and stuff. So even though the Dewalt hose is meant for this, see how big this is? See how big that is? That's just a little ridiculous, right? Like when you cut, you throw it over your shoulder, or you do the arm thing, you get it under your arm, and you cut like this. But it's just a little bit big and ridiculous, and especially on this saw, they don't have any kind of, quick connect in here. It's just a pressure fit. This, I've used it before, it just pulls it off. It's just not, it's not great. It's not great at all. I love Dewalt, but these are just some things they need to fine tune a little bit. Whereas the Festool, it just presses in there. This is a really light, flexible hose, and it's less likely to pull this off just because it's lighter. It's not as bulky. It's not pulling on it as much. So, you can just wrap it around your arm like that and cut. And see, I can get it all the way in here. Kind of locks the hose in. Whereas the other one, I can't do that as well. And this is also nicer on my skin. It's not going to be rubbing if I'm doing a ton of cutting. Don't need to wear long sleeves. It's just a nice material. So very easy to use, no problem. As you can tell, I like Festool stuff, right? So there we go, guys. I want some comments. I want to hear what you think about vacuum hoses, which ones you like, because I know there's obviously hundreds of other brands out there, and this is just sort of my personal experience over the years with these certain brands, and kind of my conclusion as to what I like and what I want to use. So yeah, leave some comments. Love to hear from you. Subscribe, hit that notify bell. Give me a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. Till next time, keep on crushing it. We'll catch you later.